Hi guys, welcome back. So today we're just going to be looking at creating this landing page. This is going to be the first part of a kind of two-part video where we're just going to be first creating this landing page here. You can see we've got this nice kind of dynamic grid background which adjusts on screen size, and you get this nice kind of random kind of square effect. I think it looks pretty smart. And then we're also going to just be implementing this kind of about us section, and then this services section as well, where you can see we've got these kind of gradient border applied and these gradient SVG icons as well. So as I said, this is a two-part series. In the next video, we're also going to be looking at implementing like a project section and a footer, and then implementing some animations as well with JavaScript. But yeah, for now, we basically implemented this canvas with JavaScript, this grid background, and we're also applying these service tiles with JavaScript as well. But yeah, it's just a nice kind of looking landing page. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it, and let's get going. Thanks. Okay guys, so to get started with this project, you can see that I've just got Visual Studio Code open here. We're in like this landing page directory, and in here we have an index.html file, we have our style.css, we have our JS folder here, which contains 3 separate JS files. So we have an app.js, which will be our main kind of JavaScript file. We have our canvas.js, which will draw the squares on our canvases used within our landing page. And then we have a services.js file, which we use to basically just store, create the services array for all of our services that we offer, as well as the projects that will be listed on this website as well. And then we also have an assets folder here with an images directory, just with 4 random images I've sourced from Unsplash, which we'll use for our project images. Obviously use whatever images you want for your separate projects. Okay, so if we come into our index.html file now, we just emit some boilerplate code here, and in the header I'm just going to link to our style.css, and then in the body we'll just come down to the bottom, we'll do a script source here, and we'll just link to our app.js files, do JavaScript and then app.js like so. Now in the body I want to just first create a main element. This is going to basically store all of our website content. Okay, and basically we're using this main element because this is mainly used for mobile device really. You know, when you scroll on your mobile device and then the screen size changes, because you get like the address bar basically changes size depending on how you scroll. This will basically just stop that effect happening, because we don't want our viewport size to change on mobile devices. So that's why we're storing it in a main element here, which will take up the full width and height of the viewport, and then we'll scroll within this main element. Okay, so now let's create a header. And I'm going to give this header a class of fade in. Okay, so this is just going to be used for like our kind of reveal animations as we progress through the landing page. Everything that we want to fade in will have this fade in class. Okay, and then in here we're going to have a div of a class called container, like so. And this will just basically use just to space our content out. We're going to use CSS grid on each container within our website. Now in this container, the first thing I want to add is an SVG, which will just contain basically our, your logo, so an SVG of your company logo. What I've been using for my icons and kind of the logo we're going to be using for this website is this amazing website I've discovered recently. It's called phosphoricons.com, and you basically just get a load of free icons you can use for your website. So what I'm going to use for my kind of company logo here is, if we just type code in the search, and I'm going to use this code sandbox logo here. So we just use that, and then you can just basically just copy the SVG here. Okay, so copy that, or not download, yeah, copy here, sorry. So copy this, and you can see I've set the size here to 24 pixels. So if we just now paste that in, you'll see we get the SVG applied, and it has that width of 24 pixels like so. So if now we open this with Live Server, you can see there's our nice logo that's appeared there. That's actually pretty small, so I'm just going to adjust the size. We'll make it 36 height and 36 width and 36 height, like so. Okay, so there's our kind of company logo that we're going to be using. Okay, so now underneath this SVG, the next thing we want to do here is we'll just create an unordered list. So this will be our kind of nav links, and then we can just do a li for a list item, and then the A tag for a link. And here I'll just say home. We just have a few just different links here. Copy this down. We'll just say about. We can then say projects. We'll say services actually. Services. And then we can just say projects. And then we'll just have a contact, any kind of random images you want really. Okay, so that is pretty much it for our header section. Now the next thing I want to do, we'll come out of the header now and then we'll have our hero section. Okay, so just do a section here, we'll give this an ID of hero, like so. And then coming into this section, the first thing I want to do is just create a canvas, okay, because we're going to have that nice, square background in our hero section. So let's create a canvas here. We'll just say canvas, and then we'll give this an ID of square canvas, like so. And then underneath this, I want a div with a class of left _ gradient. And what this is going to do, this is just going to basically be a white gradient, it's going to be a gradient we place to the left of the viewport. And it's going to be a gradient from white to transparent, just so we get that nice kind of fading effect for our background canvas. Okay, it just gives it that kind of fading effect. And we'll do the same for the right hand side as well. So we'll just say the right gradient underneath that, create a new div. And then underneath this, we're just going to have a blob container. So this will be the colors at the bottom of our kind of hero section. So we just say, give this a class of blob container, like so. And then in here, I just want to say .blue for the blue kind of colouring. Copy this down, and the middle one, we'll just give it that nice purple colour. So we just say purple. Give it a class of purple and then a class of blue. Okay, and then now coming underneath this section here, now we can get to the actual content of our hero section. So I'm just going to create another div of a class of container in here. It'll be the same as the container we applied up here. So remember, we're going to be using grids just to basically lay out our content. Okay, so now if I come into the container, we can just say dot, I'll just give this a class of intro area. This will just basically be like the area where we, it's like our hero introduction, our header, our sub header, and our kind of call to actions on the hero section. Okay, so the first thing I want to do in this intro area is I also want to give this a class of fade in as well, because we want to make this fade in when we load the page. And then in this intro area, we'll have a div of a class of pre-header, like so. And actually, I want the fade in to be on that instead, not on the actual intro area. So we'll just do a fade in here. And then in this pre-header div, I'll just make this a bit bigger. I'm just going to say here, P, and put whatever you want in here. For now, I'm just going to put my name, powered by Connor Bailey, something like that, or just whatever your company name is. And then, okay, so now you can see that's appeared. And then underneath this, actually, I also want to put that logo in there as well. So I'm just going to copy this SVG here, and then we can put that in this section as well. So, and I just want to make that, we'll make this 24 this time, this logo, make it smaller. This SVG 24. Okay, and now you can see there's our logo that's appeared. Okay, and then the next thing I want to do underneath this, so we'll come out now of our pre-header, and then we'll next have a H1, and we'll give this a class of, we'll just say hero header, and then we'll also give this a class of fade in as well. And then here, I'm just going to copy this over. We can just say crafting websites that build your business. Again, what I did for this basically was I just put something into ChatGPT. Okay, so you can just put, if it's ChatGPT, for example, let's do it now. And you can just say, for example, give me a header and a sub header for a web design company hero section, like so. Okay, so the header, websites that work as hard as you do, something like this, and then you've got like your kind of subheader you can use here. For now, I'm just going to use this header, crafting websites that build your business. Okay, and then coming underneath this, we'll next have our subheader. I'm just going to make this a P tag, and here I'll copy this over again. And what that says, so I'll just copy this over from, this was like a ChatGPT prompt as well. And it just says, we design and develop bespoke websites that don't just look great. They work hard to bring you more customers. From sleek portfolios to powerful looking booking systems, we build with your business in mind. That sounds great. Okay, so now, that's looking good. Okay, next thing I want to do here, I think we also just want to give this a fade in as well. Just give this a class of fade in. Fade in. And then finally, we just want to do some CTA, some call to action buttons. Okay, so I'm just going to do .cta for, and we'll put area here, CTA area. And then we'll also just give this a class of fade in as well. So we're going to fade in all these elements as soon as the page loads, basically. Let's just CTA area, like so, and fade in. Just change that. Okay, and then in this CTA area, we're just going to have two kind of links. So the first one will be the primary CTA. So I'm just doing an A tag here. We'll say primary CTA. And here we'll just say, for example, start a project. And then underneath this, we'll do the secondary CTA. So, and this can just be view our work. Secondary CTA, view our work, like so. Okay, cool. And that is pretty much it for our hero section. So I think what we'll do is we'll just we'll style one section piece at a time. So now if we come to our style.css, now the first thing I want to do here is I just want to define some CSS variables, okay? So to do that, we can just say root, and here these are just going to be variables that we're going to be using throughout our CSS code. Okay, so the first one is the first initial gradient color, so we'll just say gradient 1, and I'm just going to give this a color of RGB. Okay, and this will be 117, 168, and then 255, and this gives us a nice kind of blue color. You can see here. Okay, and then come underneath that, we'll do a gradient 2. And 12.2, and then here we'll just give this a nice pinkish kind of purple color. We'll just say 152, and then we'll say 17. Okay, and then 255, and that gives us that nice kind of purple color. Okay, underneath that we'll do a BG color. So I just say BG color, and here we can just say I'll have a background of white for now to make it simple, and then we'll just say main text. We'll give this a colour of 161616. It's like a really dark grey, close to black. And then the secondary text, we'll just keep that a white colour. Okay, take that out for now. Okay, so there are our root variables, CSS root variables defined. Next thing I want to do here is come under and remove all of the default margins, paddings, and this kind of list style and text decorations here. Okay, so I'm just going to take off the list style of none, make that none, and you'll see now that the bullet points disappear from our links, like so, and then we'll just do text decoration of none as well. Okay, so that removes the underlining from our links, and then next one I want to do, so we'll come on top of these, I'll just say margin 0, padding 0, and we'll say box size in border box, and that removes all the default margins and paddings. Now, next thing I want to do here is I'm just going to specify the font family to be sans serif, okay? Just to give it that nice kind of, sans serif font. And then we'll also just specify the font weight here to make it lighter. We'll say font weight 400, like so. And we'll just specify the color of our text to be that variable, so the main text color. So we hit to do that, you just say var for variable, and then we can just say main text like so. Okay, so now you can see all of our text has gone to that main text color. And that's it for the kind of global settings. The next thing I want to do here is let's come to our HTML and body next. So we just say HTML body, and here we're just going to say overflow hidden. Okay, and then what we want to do is we'll say overscroll behavior as well. Of none. And then what that does, sorry, let's just comment out just to show you, when we kind of scroll, right, it's not doing it at the moment because my website doesn't, the content, yeah, you can see, we get that kind of bounce when we scroll, okay? So to get rid of that, we can just say overscroll behavior of none, and then that stops doing that. And we'll specify the overflow to hidden as well. Okay, now next thing we want to do here is I'm just going to say background color, and we'll just say var bg color like so, which will be white. Okay, next I want to do is target the main element. So here we can just say position is fixed, and then we'll just say top 0, left 0, and we'll say a width of 100%, and we'll just give it a height of 100 viewport heights to fill the viewport. And then we'll just say overflow y scroll, overflow y scroll like so. Okay, so now if we lift this up, we should still be able to scroll that main element. Okay, so that's what we're scrolling at, the main element, not the actual body. Okay, so now that that's working, I think that's pretty much it. And yeah, we can just also just say here as well. No, that should be fine for now. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so next we want to do here is I'm just going to target my P. We're just going to adjust, sorry, the font sizes now. Okay, so we're just going to target first our P and our dot footer links. Okay, so these are going to have a font size of 1 rem. Okay, and then just to show you where I got this from, sorry, I used a type scale. Okay, so this is basically just gives you a nice kind of sizing for your, just to give you like kind of consistency throughout your website. You can kind of choose a scale you want to use for your font sizes, and then you can just adjust them throughout your site. Okay, so you can see here, you know, it starts off at 1 rem, then it goes up to 1.2 rem for your kind of like, you know, your next headers, and it just keeps this nice consistency and scaling for your font sizes. So that's where I'm kind of getting these sizes from here. So next one will be 1.2 rem. So what I'm going to do here, we'll just say H5, we'll say font size of 1.2 rem, and then we'll do H4, and here we can just say font size of 1.44 rem. Font size, copy this down, 1.44 rem, which is here, the next one. And then we'll just do a H3, and we'll do font size here, and this will be 1.728 rem. And then we'll do H2, we'll do the font size of 2.074 rem. Like so, and then finally the H1, and that will be 2.488 rem. 0.488 rem, like so. Okay, there are font sizes. Okay, so now we have this kind of nice consistent font throughout our website. Okay, next thing I want to do here is next target each of our sections. So we'll just say section here, and we'll just give these a position of relative, like so. Then we'll come underneath this, give them a width of 100% to fill the viewport, and then we'll just say display flex, and then we want to justify the content to be center. Okay, like so. And then we'll just give them all a bit of padding as well. So just say padding, and we'll just say 80 pixels at the top, and then 0 at the right, 0 at the bottom, and 0 at the left. Okay. Okay, so that looks a bit weird now, but don't worry, we'll sort this out in a second. So now that's it for our sections. Next one I want to do is target our header. Okay, so we come up to the header, and here again we'll just say position relative. We then say top 0, left 0. We want to give it a width of 100% and a height of 80 pixels, like so. Okay, and then what I want to do next is just give this a z-index as well, 1. And then we can also just say, I want to give this a background color of var, and we'll just say BG color as well to make it a nice white color. Okay, and then underneath this, next thing we want to do is again display flex, and then we want to just say justify content center. Okay, and then also align item center as well. Okay, so now you can see everything's kind of centered. Now the next thing I want to do here is let's target our header UL. So we'll come underneath here, we'll just say header UL like so. So this is targeting this unordered list of links here. And here we'll just say, actually let's first grab the container, okay? Because obviously there's, in our kind of header and our sections, we have these containers. So this container here and this container here. So let's just do that. So dot container, for this, we're gonna give this, again, position relative. We'll just say a width of 95%, and then we'll just say we want to display grid. So using CSS grid to display this, and then we'll say grid template columns, and we're just going to repeat 12 one fraction unit. Okay, so what this does, you'll see that now our kind of containers have 12 columns. Okay, so if we come to our header section, where's our header? Here, you see our container, and we have 12 kind of equal value columns there, and that's how we're going to just space out our content along these columns. Okay, so what we can do now is I just also want to say grid auto rows, and we can here just say min content. So this means that the CSS grid rows will always take up the height of the content that it contains. Now in our header UL, what I want to do now is we can just say grid column, and here we can say start at grid column, make it start at grid column 5, and we want it to span 6 columns. Okay, so now you can see that basically our unordered list is starting on the 5th column. Okay, so it starts at the 5th column and it's spanning 6 columns. And then what we can do now is we'll just say display flex to make the links go next to each other. And then we also just want to say give them a gap. So we'll say gap of 1 rem, and now you can see we get a nice 1 rem spacing in between our links. And then we also just want to say align items center. It's just to center them to the kind of logo. Okay, and that's it for our kind of header. It looks quite smart. Okay, now coming underneath this, the next thing I want to do is target our hero section. So we'll just say hero, like so. And here we'll just say position relative. Actually, we don't need to do that because we've applied that to all of the sections, so we can just get rid of that. And then next thing I want to do here is just say, so for the hero, we'll just say overflow hidden. Okay, and we also just want to say a border bottom left radius. And we want that to be 10%. And we'll have that for the bottom right radius as well. 10%. And then we'll also just say a min height of 100 viewport heights. Okay, so now if I just do background color of red, you'll see there's our hero section. And you can see that we've also got that nice kind of curved radius now for the bottom. So that's what that bottom border radius is doing for 10%. Okay, so that's looking good. Let's comment that out. We'll get rid of that red background color. Now, the next thing I want to do here is let's target the left gradients. Okay, so we'll say dot left gradient, like so. And we're going to position this absolute. So absolute here, and then we'll say top 0, left 0. Give this a width of 20%, and then we'll also just give it a height of 100%, like so. And then we can just say, yeah, background image. That should be image. And here we'll just say linear gradient. Okay, and then we want to go to the right. That should be 2. And here we'll then do a comma, and then we can just do var. And then if I just do main text color for now, just so you can see how this works. And then we want it to go to transparent. So let's just do a comma after that, and we can just say transparent. Okay, so that's left gradient, height, and that should be width. Okay, and there you can see that gradient's now been applied. So let's do the same thing for the right gradient. Instead this time we'll just do right of 0, and then we want to go to the left this time. Oh, and that should be right gradient. Okay, and then you can see our gradients have been applied. Now we just need to change this to be the background color. Okay, so we just say BG color here. So you won't see it at the moment because obviously our background's white, but once the kind of canvas is in underneath, you'll see that kind of fading, subtle fading effect. Okay, and then the next thing we want to do here is we'll just say, oh yeah, the blob container next. So we get the blob container, say blob container. And here we're just going to position this absolute as well. And then we'll just say a width of 100%. We'll say bottom 0. We'll display flex. And then we can just say justify content, space between. And then we'll just give this a height of 15% as well. So if we just do a background color of red for now, just can see where this is. There's our kind of, this is where our kind of coloring is going to go, our kind of color blobs. Okay, and then we can just say z index of 2, because we want to bring it in front of the canvas, or just behind the canvas actually. And then we'll next just say filter. If there's a blur filter of 50 pixels. Okay, as you can see, it's nice and blurred now. And then we'll just get rid of this background color for now. I don't need that anymore. Next thing I want to do is just target the blue blob, and here we'll just say position relative. We'll just give it a width of 100%. Height of 100%, and we just give it a background color, and we use that var gradient 1 color, like so. Okay, and then we'll just do for the purple the same thing. So just say purple, like so, and then we'll just say gradient 2. Now you can see we've got that nice effect occurring there, so that's looking good. Okay, and then the next thing I want to just target here is the canvas, so we just say canvas like so, canvas element, and here we'll just say position absolute, and we'll just say inset 0. So that basically just means if we, for example, just do a border of 10 pixels solid green. Actually, is that working? Let's try doing this instead. We'll just say yeah, left 0, top 0, width 100%. Okay, that's better yet. And then a height of 100% as well. Okay, as you can see, there's our canvas. It's overflow hidden, so you can't see it here. And then we'll just say z index, and we'll make this z index of 3 to bring it in front of the color blobs. And then we'll just give it an opacity of 0.4. Okay, so that's looking cool. Now, next thing I want to do here is let's take this border off. Let's just sort this text out. So we can just say dot intro area, and here we just want to say grid column, and we want to make this span 6 columns, so half of the screen, like so. That's looking better. That's spanning 6 columns now. So just to show you, if we come to our container here, you can see it's spanning that just those first 6 columns, our content. That's what that's doing, this CSS grid. It makes it really nice and easy to lay out your website. Okay, and then underneath this, we'll just say display flex. So that'll bring everything next to each other. Now let's do a flex direction of column. So that brings it back into a column, and now we can just say gap. We'll just say a 2 rem gap, just to give you some space in between each of the kind of elements. Okay, and then next thing I want to do is target the pre-header, so say pre-header, and here we'll just say display flex, just to bring the logo and kind of this text here next to each other. We can then just say padding of 0.5 rem, and then we'll just say here border radius of 10 pixels. And then we'll just say a width of fit content, and then we can just say background color of var, and we'll just say BG color like so, and then we'll just do border 1 pixel solid, and then we just say var, and we just use the main text color here to give it that border like so. And then we just want to next just say align items center. So let's do that now. Align items center. Let's make it nice and centered, and then we just give it a gap as well. Just say gap of 0.5 rem. Just give it a bit of a gap between that logo and the text. Okay, so that's looking good. Now the next thing I want to do is target the hero header, or actually let's just do it up here. I want to come to all of our settings, and I'm just going to say I don't like the space in between the letters. It seems there's just a bit too much space for me. I like it when they're more compressed, so we just do letter spacing, and here we just say minus 0.025 m. You can see it just brings our text slightly closer, which I kind of like. I like that aesthetic of it. Okay, so then next thing we want to do here, we've got our pre-header. I just want to target the CTA area next, so we say .CTA area, so the call to action area, and again we'll just display flex, and we'll just do a gap of 1 rem like so, to give a nice little run gap between the buttons here, and then we'll do .CTA area, and then we'll target the anchor tags, so basically each of the buttons, and here we can just say padding, and for these paddings we want to just give it a 0.5 rem at the top, so say 0.5 rem, and then a 1 rem to each side, to left and right. And then here we can just say a border radius as well of 10 pixels. And then again, we can just give it that kind of that border of 1 pixel solid var main text. Okay, so there's our kind of border around our buttons now. And then the next thing I want to do here is just say, I want to just do a hover effect. So let's just say hover after this. And here, hover. And we'll just set the opacity to 0.5. So now you can see when we hover. Okay, we need to bring this area, CTA area, we'll give this position relative. And we'll just give it a Z index of 5 to bring it in front of everything. Okay. So now you can see when we hover, we get that nice opacity occurring. Okay, and then next thing I want to do is just target the primary CTA. So just say dot primary CTA, and here we can just say background color of var main text, make it black, and then we'll make the color var secondary text to make it that white color. And yeah, then we can just I think that's pretty much it. We just want to just do a text align center here as well. Text align center. And yeah, the secondary CTA, so just copy this down, secondary. I just want to give this a background color of BG, main BG color. Take that color out. Okay, so that's looking good. Now let's focus on getting that canvas implemented for the background. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is we shall come to the canvas section, and the first thing we want to do here is just create a class. Okay, so say class canvas. And because we're going to have multiple canvases on this website, I just want to create a class just so we can kind of draw them individually. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, this will take in a constructor, and here it will take in the canvas element, and here we'll just say this.canvas equals canvas. Okay, and then this.context, so CTX equals this.canvas.getContext. And we just want a 2D context to draw this canvas, or this grid in the canvas. We'll set a square size, so this dot square size equals 90 pixels, and then we're just going to create some methods now. So first one will be this dot resize canvas, and then we'll just say this dot draw squares. Okay, so if we just do the resize canvas here, and these methods, and we'll just put the draw squares method here as well. Okay. So next we want to do now is we just want to get the pixel ratio when we resize a canvas. So this is basically going to trigger whenever we resize our viewport and when we load the page. Okay, so we want to get the dimensions of our viewport in order to draw the canvas to the screen. Now the first thing we need to do for this is to get the actual device pixel ratio that we're using. Obviously some devices have like a retina display, so they have a higher resolution, or you can have lower resolution display. So first thing we need to do is just calculate the pixel ratio so we can make this nice and crisp and clear on all devices. So we'll just say const pixel ratio equals window.device pixel ratio. If that's not available, we'll just default it to 1, like so. So if, for example, you come in here, I'm on quite a low resolution screen at the moment actually. So if you do window.device pixel ratio you'll see it's just 1. On Retina screens, you'll get like a 2. So that's just what that's doing, okay? And then what we want to do here after this is we can just say this dot canvas dot width equals, and then we'll just say this dot canvas, and let's target the parent element dot offset width, like so. And then once times that by the device pixel ratio, or the pixel ratio that we set here. Then we want to do the same thing for the height. So this dot canvas dot height, and that's going to equal offset height instead of width times the device pixel ratio. Okay, and then what we want to do is once get the context, we'll say this dot context dot scale, and here we can just say pixel ratio for the X and then pixel ratio for the Y. Okay, and then what we can do now is just want to reset the actual CSS styling of the canvas. So we'll just say this dot canvas dot style dot height. That's just going to equal this dot canvas dot parent element dot offset height and then we can just say plus pixels, and then we'll do the same thing for the width. And that will just be width. Okay, and that's it for getting our canvas size. Okay, so basically we're just making sure that it's nice and, as I said, nice and crisp and clear on all kind of, screen displays. Okay, now let's get to the drawing squares. So to do that, first we want to do here is say const rows. So the amount of rows we have. That's just going to equal, we're going to use the math.ceil function for ceiling. And then we're just going to basically take in this .canvas.height. And we're going to divide it by this .square size. Okay, so that will give us the amount of rows we want to have. And then we can also just do the same thing for the columns. So const columns, and that's just going to obviously be the width divided by this dot square size. Okay, and then what we want to do when we first before we draw to the canvas, we just want to clear the rect. So we just say this dot ctx dot clear rect. So this will clear the canvas basically. So we want to clear it from the top left, which is 0, 0 for the X and Y number, and then we just want to say this dot canvas dot width for the width, and for the height we'll just say this dot canvas dot height. That will clear the canvas when we call this function, because when we resize the screen we obviously want it to clear and then redraw the squares to adjust to the relevant screen size we're on. Okay, and then what we want to do now is we're just going to do a for loop. We'll say let x equal 0 whilst x is less than cols, or columns rather. We'll just say x plus plus, and then we'll also just do a nested for loop. So for let y equals 0, and then whilst y is less than rows, we'll say y plus plus. Okay, so we have a nested for loop here, and then we just want to kind of randomly decide if a square should have this kind of grey see-through colour. Okay, so to do that we'll just say const is grey equals, and we're going to use the math.random function here, and if that's less than 0.1 or 10%, yeah, that's when we're going to say it is grey, is math.random less than 0.1. So this basically means approximately 10% of our squares will have this kind of grey background colour. Okay, we want it to be quite random. And then we're just going to specify our fill style. So this .ctx.fill style equals, If it is grey, we'll do a question mark. Then we'll just say RGB 220, 220, and then 220. Else, we'll just say transparent, like so. The next thing we want to do here is we'll just say this.ctx.fill rect for fill rectangle, and then we'll just say x times this dot square size, and then we'll say y times this dot square size, like so. And then for the width number, we'll say this dot square size, and for the height, we'll say this dot square size, like so. Okay, now underneath this, we'll just say this dot ctx dot stroke style, and that's just going to equal the border. This will be like the border color for our squares. We'll just say RGBA, and we'll just do 181, 181, 181, just to give us this nice kind of square, grey color, sorry. And then for the alpha, for the how see-through it is, we'll just do 1. Okay, we get that nice grey color now. Okay, and then what we can do here, we just say this dot ctx dot stroke rect. Okay, and then we're just going to say x again times this dot square size. We'll do y times this dot square size, and then we'll just say this dot square size, and then this dot square size, like so. Okay, so that's pretty much it for our kind of canvas methods. Now what I want to do here is we'll just say export, and then we can just export this canvas class. Now what we need to do, if we come back to our index.html, I'm just going to specify this as a type of module. Okay, so we've got the module type here, and this will basically just allow us now in our app.js file to import this export, this canvas export here. Okay, so let's do that now. I'm just going to come to the top of our app.js. I'm just going to say import canvas from canvas / and we need to put the JavaScript extension here as well. So now if I console.log canvas here, come to our terminal, or console rather, and you'll see that we have our canvas class imported. Ignore this error here, this is just my MetaMask wallet playing up with the console. Okay, but yeah, you can see that's working fine. So if we just delete this, now what I want to do here is let's now grab all of our canvas elements. So I'm just going to say const, or we'll do, const canvas elements equals, and then we'll just do documents.query selector all, and we'll just grab each canvas element. At the moment we obviously only have the one on our screen, but this like kind of operator here in the array will just basically put all of our canvas elements into an array. So if we console.log canvas elements, you'll see we have our canvas appear there. Okay, so that's cool, that's working. Now what I want to do with this is I'm just going to say canvas elements dot for each element, or for each canvas rather, we'll just do that for now. We're just going to say let square canvas equal new canvas, and we'll pass in that canvas element. Okay, and now you can see that our canvas has occurred on the back of our hero section, and that's looking really nice, I think. Now obviously when we resize a screen, it's not working. So what we need to do here is we need to add an event listener just to when we resize our screen, just to adjust the grid. Okay, so to do that, what I'm going to do here is we'll just say we just need to create a canvas array. So I'm just going to say let canvas array equal an empty array, and then we're just going to push this square canvas to that canvas array. So we say canvas array dot push, and then we can just say square canvas, like so. And then now what I want to do is we can just say, we don't add an event listener when we resize our screen. So bear with me a second. Yeah, we'll just say window dot add event listener. We'll listen out for the resize event. And then once this, when the window is being resized, we'll run this callback function, and then we can just basically say canvas array dot for each canvas, and then we just want to call the methods on each canvas. So remember we had canvas dot resize canvas and canvas dot draw squares. So that's what we're going to do. So for each canvas we'll say canvas dot resize. Resize canvas, like so. And yeah, we'll just say canvas dot draw squares. Okay, so now when we resize our screen, you can see that's working now, and we get different random variations of our squares each time, which I think is quite cool. Okay. So yeah, that's looking good. And that pretty much concludes our initial hero section. We'll make it responsive a bit later, but what I have noticed here is this background color here. This needs to come, this needs to come in front of everything. So let's just come to our intro area, and we'll give this a position of relative. And we'll give it a z index of 5, and that just brings it in front of everything. Okay, so that's looking good. Okay, cool. So now let's move on to our about section. So I'm going to come back down to, well, we'll come back into our index.html. We'll do a section here, and then we'll do a container, and then in here we'll just have a h3. And this will have a class of fade in. So we'll say class fade in, like so. And here we'll just say about us. Okay, and then we also just want to say here, we'll give it style. I'm just going to do some inline styling here because it's a bit easier. And we'll just say grid column. And we'll just do span 4, so it spans 4 columns. Okay, so that's looking better. And then underneath this header here, we'll just do a div of a class of about us, and again we want that to fade in as well. And then in here, I'm just going to come to ChatGPT, and we'll just say write an about us section for a web design agency website. I want 3 paragraphs. The agency is called Code Solutions. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is just copy these lines over. So we'll just do a p tag here. And I'm just going to basically just copy this paragraph here. We'll do a BR for a break line, P again, and then again we'll do another break line, final paragraph. Why is it in caps? And we'll just do this final paragraph here. Okay, so there's our paragraph there, and then what I want to do with this is, for this first paragraph, I'm just going to say here, style, and I'll just say text indent, and then we can just say for rem. Okay, and we get that nice indented paragraph here. And then coming underneath this, we just want to add another div. So we'll come underneath this and we'll just say dot about tiles. And again, we'll just specify a fading class for this, like so. Okay, and we're going to basically apply these tiles with JavaScript. So what I've done here, so what you can do, if we come to our services, we'll come to our services.js here, and yep, so we can just basically say, yeah, let's just create, well, 8 services. Well, we'll say around, how many services do we want here? About 8 services, okay? So I'm just going to say in ChatGPT, create 8 services based around web design and development. Yeah, the services need to be in a JavaScript array as JS objects. Each service must contain an icon, a title, and a description. Okay. So let's just let that cook in ChatGPT. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to copy this JavaScript object here, paste that in here. So we have our, obviously our services object now. That's great. And then next, just so custom website design. So if we come back to our this phosphor icons here, the first thing I want to do is just so design. Let's just get a design. A design icon. This compass tool looks pretty cool. We'll use that. Copy this, and I'm just going to replace that icon with this SVG here. Okay, and then so next I want to do is I'm actually going to make these a bit bigger as well. So just make this 36, and 36 like so. And then so for optimization, we'll just do a flash icon for speed. We'll just use this one here. We'll copy the SVG, make this 36 pixels, and copy the SVG, and I'll just place that in here. Use backticks. Okay, and then for responsiveness, I'll just put a mobile. Let's just find a mobile device here. Yep, that will do for now. Device mobile, and we can put that SVG in here like so. Next thing we want, so for e-commerce solutions, we'll just find a trolley or e-commerce. Get this shopping cart, we'll copy that. Okay, next SEO, so a magnifying glass. Let's just do search, and we'll just get this magnifying glass here. So I said, this is a really great website, this phosphor icons. And then maintenance, we'll just get, I don't know, a wrench. So we've got the wrench there like so. And 2 more, so app development, we'll just do code, use this code icon here. And last one is CMS. So let's just type a keyboard, copy that. And there you go. Okay, so now we're exporting our services here. Now, what I want to do here in our app.js file, let's create our services. Okay, so we can now import our services. So we'll just say, what I'm actually going to do is put this in just an object, because we're also going to export our projects as well from this file. And then we can just say import services from services, and then now underneath this, so we just say services dot for each, and here we can just say service. What we're going to do here is just create a tile for each service. So say let tile equal, and here we can just say document dot create element div, and then here we'll just say tile dot class list dot add, and then we'll just add the service tile, and then we'll say let icon equal document dot create element. Let's create a div as well, and then we'll just say icon dot inner HTML equals service dot icon, like so, which is the SVG we created or imported from that website. And then we'll just say tile dot append child icon, like so. And then we'll just say let service title equal document dot create element, create an h4 element. Let's just adjust that. And then we'll just say service title dot text content equals service dot name, service dot title, sorry, rather. And then then we can just say let service description or desk and here we can just do this again, and this will just be a P, and then we'll just say service desk dot text content equals service dot description, like so. And then we just say tile dot append, want to append the service title and the service desk. And then we can just say, next one we want to do is just grab this element here, this about tiles. Okay, so we can just say, come to our JavaScript, we'll just say, const about tiles equals document dot query selector, use a dot, and then about tiles, and then here we can just say about tiles dot append child tile. So let's see if that's worked. You can see it does appear to have worked, but that's just really big. Well, that's really so big, but we'll just try and adjust this with some CSS. See, we have our SVG in there, form optimization. Okay, cool. Let's just check our H4. Why is that looking so big? 1.44 rem. There you go, that's better. Okay, so yeah, now we have our tiles that have appeared there. So that's looking good. Now let's just adjust this with style.css. So coming back to our style.css, and what we want to do here is we'll just say, let's grab, so we'll come down to the bottom here, and I'll just say about. So this is our about section, and here we'll just say dot so about us. About us, and here we can just say grid column. We'll just say 6, and then we want it to span 6 columns as well. Okay, and then and why is that? Okay, this should be underneath here. Okay, and then for our about tiles, let's just come under here, we'll say dot about tiles, and here we want this to span all 12 columns, so say grid column span 12, like so. Okay, and then we can just say here, I want to display this with grid as well, display grid, and here we'll just do grid template columns again, repeat 12 1 fr, like so, and then I want to give this a margin top as well, margin top, because it's a bit close to our about text at the moment, so margin top of 2 rem, this section, and then we'll say a gap of 1 pixel, and then we also just want to say here background color, or just background rather, and here we'll say linear gradient, and then we'll say to bottom right, so from the top left to bottom right, and we'll just say var gradient 1 to var gradient 2, and you can see where that gradient appeared. That's looking good. Okay, the next thing we want to do here is just say padding as well. We'll say a padding of 1 pixel. Now what we want to do, we want to target our service tiles. So say dot service tile, give these position of relative, and we'll say grid column when we just want these to span 3. Okay, so that gives us a kind of nice, we span them across nice and evenly now. And then we can just say here, let's give these a padding of 1 rem to the top, 1 rem to the right, 2 rem at the bottom, and then 1 rem on the left. Got a nice padding now. And then we can just say display flex, and we'll say flex direction column, and then we'll just say a gap of 1 rem to space out the elements, like so, and then we'll just say background var main BG color, or BG color. Okay, and then what that's done, you can see now it looks like we've got that nice kind of border occurred. Yeah, but it's like a nice kind of gradient border for each of our tiles, which I think looks really smart. Now, what else I want to do here is I want to just apply this gradient to these logos as well. So to do that, we're going to come into our services, and to get these linear gradients applied, what we can do is I can just say const linear gradient equals, we're going to use backticks here. We're just going to inject some HTML into these SVG sections. So we can just say, to do that, we need to use the defs, and that will have a closing tag as well. So these are like definitions, like SVG definitions. And then in here, we're just going to say linear gradient, like so. We're going to give this an ID of gradient 1, like so. Then we're just going to say x1 equals 0%, and then we'll just say y1 equals 0%. Close that off, and then we'll just say x2 equals 100%, and then y2 equals 100%. Okay, and then we'll just close that down, and then we'll come in here and we'll just say stop offset, and then equals 0%, and then we'll just say style equals stop color, and then we just do var, and we'll just target our gradient 1, like so. Gradient 1, and then we'll just say stop opacity, and that's just going to be 1, like so. Okay, so yep, that's looking right. Stop opacity equals 1, and then we'll close closing tag there. We'll just copy this down one more time, and here we'll just say the offset here will be 100%. Okay, and then this will be gradient 2, and then finally underneath this we just need to close that linear gradient tag, so we here just say linear gradient, like so. And then what you need to do is after the SVG element for each of these, so yeah, we'll come after the view box here, and then we're just going to say do a template literal, we'll say linear gradient, like so, and then we just want to reference that ID here, so yeah, fill URL gradient 1. So to do that, we'll say path, and then we'll just say fill equals URL, and then we can just say gradient 1, like so. So I'm just going to copy this down. Okay, and then I'm just going to replace the path with each of those. So now we can take the path out, path, just replacing it with that text. Okay, let's see if that's worked. And now you can see that our logos have that nice gradient color applied. Okay, and I think, yep, so let's just, next we just want to add, let's come down to the next section after this. We'll come here into our HTML, and then we'll create a new section, and this will have an ID of projects. Okay, and then obviously we'll have our container again here, so we'll say .container, and here we'll just have a h3, we'll say projects here, and then we can just say grid column style, grid column, and we'll just say span 12. Okay, cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to leave this this session here. We'll keep it. Yeah, I don't want to go too long with this. We'll do a part 2 just to finish off the website, get the animations rolling in. But this is how you kind of just get that kind of initial canvas working. I think we've got a nice looking hero section here. We've got a nice about section laid out, and then we've got this nice kind of icons used and this kind of nice gradient border applied. So we'll finish the rest of the landing page in the next tutorial, and then we'll implement the animations as well. But yeah, this is quite a good start, I think. What I also want to do actually is just apply that gradient to this logo up here. So let's just do that now. What I'm going to do is we'll come back to our services. We'll copy this code here. I'll come back to our index.html, and then we can just come into our header section. Where's our header section? Yeah, here. And then, yeah, I think what we can do is we'll just say, we'll paste those definitions in there, and then we can basically just say fill, and then, yeah, what did we say here? It was, yeah, URL. We'll point it to that gradient, URL, and then we'll just say and there you go, we've got that nice kind of gradient applied for this logo down here as well. Okay guys, so yeah, as I said, I'll leave it there for this week, and then next week we'll finish off the site, implement animations. But I think, yeah, the hard part's done for now. We've got that canvas logic implemented. Yeah, it's looking, yeah, pretty decent already, I'd say, and I think this looks really smart, this kind of gradient colouring down here. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that, guys, and I'll see you for part 2. Thanks.